Hello, and this is Stephen in wonderful Wiltshire, and say hello to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook and Twitch. Today we're actually live in Avebury, and I'm just going to pan round and we're going for a little walk around Avebury. Let's follow Angelika and keep away from other people and take them inside this building. As you can see, it is in fact, if we look up, it's a bit dark in there. Okay, this is right, so we're going to head out and we're going to take you on a tour. So it's been decided. So let's just go ahead. The whole area is looked after by a National Trust. This is a National Trust property donated to the Trust. And this is the museum, the Alexander Keeler Museum, and in here are artefacts discovered in the area around here, and it's a very good exhibition if you want to hop in and find out the archaeology of Avebury. And you can see we're actually in a park. Okay, now this was also a country house, and if we go down here we can see, I'll get up against the railings, we can see Avebury Manor House, used in BBC films, possibly. Today you can actually visit any part of it. There's some tea rooms at the back, or used to be, and some beautiful gardens. But we're going on the outside because today we're headed around Avebury. In actual fact, okay, we've got to have booked in advance for that, which we can't do. We haven't today, we just come on spec because it's a beautiful day and we're out and about. I will find out the significance of this particular area which has been walled off, and I shall let you know what it is. But this is, I'm just giving people a chance to move on a little bit. I'm not going to point the camera over there. Okay, so we're walking through the churchyard, and if I pan, and what we'll do is we'll just head over here because we can. So we're walking around the churchyard. We're off the main path, so we shouldn't get many people. And oh, I saw a rabbit. You saw the rabbit too, I hope. If you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter and Twitch, I cannot, on my webpage as well, I cannot see your comments. I'll answer them when we get back to bed. But you can see, take your walk through here and then come round to the front of the church. Now we're actually just to one side of Avebury Stone Circle, which you'll see in a moment as I go and follow the path. We'll come past the church and I'll give you a view of the church in a moment. There is the church and the steeple, and it serves it is a church which still serves the local population. Okay, and I'm going to go up and down because the ground is going up and down. I'm going to go to the right, okay, and follow the path that's here and just go amongst the trees, and then we'll stop for a moment and we can have a look. Okay, you're out and about with Stephen, Wiltshire in England, and I'm with Angelika today. It's Friday the 13th, and the clock says it's 1:45, which it is. Okay, so beautiful church, and you've got the clock, and then you've got, okay, about face. And this has rather unique entrance to the church and the graveyard. I'm not too sure of the history of it. We'll just look at it for now. And I'm just going to make a slight adjustment so you can actually see where I'm going. I'm going to go through the archway, and there is a phrase which is carved up above in Latin. And my Latin is a bit rusty, so we'll leave that for a moment. There are seats for people to sit. There are gates to close the church grounds if you wish. And we're going across now. And this is Avebury Village Hall. This village hall is used for events, it's used for craft fairs, it can be hired. It's also where the village meetings take place, and when it's open as craft fair you can actually get, so it's a social centre in Avebury, and okay, you can't park outside. So we've actually come round 180 degrees and we're now coming up on the entrance, which is on our left. I'm just going to carry on for a little bit. Hopefully I've got my geography right. If I haven't, we could be here and get lost, but we won't. Okay, now we can see on the sign, car park is up there, and to our left is the farmyard and the cafe and the manor and the garden. But if we go up here, and this is why we're here actually, it's good to be close to the cafe and to be close to the garden, but we're here for something different. This area is open to the public, and there it is. You can see that that's part of the arc of the stone circle, and the village which we're walking through now is actually within the stone circle. So unlike Stonehenge, where you've got, I'm going to try and get the gate. Okay, I've got the gate, and I'm going to hold it for a moment. Right, okay, we're off now. This is where we really want to be. This is Avebury Stone Circle, which was created at the same time as Stonehenge, and you can see that there's been some repair work taking place. But this is a maintained site, and it's got a path running around the edge. So I'll just let you soak up the stones. Where you've got a marker, it means there was a stone there. There's now a concrete slab. As we get further on, you'll see more of the original stones from 4,500 years ago. Now this is also, incredibly, a working farm, and the sheep actually come out here to graze, and they graze all areas to keep it under control, as well as the grass being cut. It's being cut by sheep as well. Right, so we're coming to our first stone, which is not a marker. And you can see that the circumference of this is just a lot bigger than Stonehenge. And again, the stones have been, of course, they've been here for 4,000 years. And again, we've got another stone marker, followed by a stone. Now, excavations have shown where the stones are, and that's why we've got markers to actually represent the stones, because there were stones in situ. Unlike Stonehenge, the stones at Avebury have not been hewn, they've not been cut, so they were exactly as they were brought here, and they would have been moved to here on rollers, on wooden rollers, trees cut down, branches lopped off, and you've then got a roller, lower the stone onto 5 or 6 rollers and gently push, and the rollers turn and the stone moves. Take the roller at the back, put it in front and repeat, and in that way you can move an object of this size. A team of people. The people who built Avebury came from throughout Europe and throughout Great Britain, in actual fact, to actually put these stones. It is a World Heritage Site. If you type in Avebury, that's Avebury, into Wikipedia, it will take you directly to the site and you can find out more. Now, we've got some of the smaller stones in this field, but over in the field over there you can see some larger stones. That's where we're headed. Like Stonehenge, I don't think these stones have names, they just are. And you can see part of the trail over there, people stood on the hill. Now, going over here, around the perimeter of the stone circle is a vellum or ditch, and that ditch was to keep people out, so that the ditch runs all the way around the outside of the circle. If you're watching live, thank you. If you're watching on Amazon Live, this video is being shown on Amazon Live on Wednesday as part of my country walking with Stephen. We're definitely out of the country, we're definitely walking, and we're definitely at somewhere different. Now, another fact, this is the main road, Devizes to Swindon, and it runs through the stone circle. Obviously, originally it started out as a cart track and then became a major road. This is the road, for those of you who know it, this is the road the 49 bus takes when it's actually going from Devizes to Swindon. Right, on most of my trips out, I actually encounter rain. Today it's possibly going to rain, but it's not raining at the moment. Okay, and we're coming up to a star and a gate, and try and film. That's when you've walked around the stone circle, you can go to that pub and you can have something to eat, and the food has been recommended, or if you wish you can try a pint of English ale. Now I need somebody's help now, hopefully. As I'm pointing my camera this way, magically the gate will open and the camera's pointed away from us. I'm being looked after royally today. Okay, it's coming down to the road. I want to make sure that there is no traffic either way. Are we good? No? Right. Okay, so just waiting a minute. Okay, so we're now crossing the road that runs right through the circle and going across the other side. and my own friendly favourite gatekeeper. Right, okay, so we've now crossed into another field. As I say, you can see sheep in the distance. Sheep actually graze here, and we've got the stones, and you can see how they're laid out and how far round they go. And over there, in addition to the ditch, has been built, well, a mound. Okay, now we started at the mound earlier today, which is Silbury Hill. Mounds were designed obviously as a defence to keep people out, but the stones themselves, I'm sure they've got a story to tell. And this is a beautiful part of Wiltshire. For reference, it's about 10 miles away from Swindon, and it's about 10 miles away from where we are in Devizes, which means that we can come out here anytime and get some steps. Now, because this is outside the National Trust property, this is free to everybody, so you don't need to book to come here. You can just come here and you can walk around the stone circle, and it's not, we always say it's an amazing place as I pan round and give you the sheep and the farm buildings. Now, there is a village, there are farmhouses around here, and in the 17th and 18th century, when they were actually building the farmhouses, they thought to themselves, there's some stone down the road. So some of the stone from this stone circle is actually part of the buildings that we can see now in the village. Okay, they took the stone from here and repurposed it, but obviously that does detract from what we can see now, and that's why in the other field we're in, we've got the markers. Now, as I said earlier, around the circumference of the circle is a ditch. Now, you've got to remember that the only tools they had in those days were handmade tools, basically shovel, and this was all dug out by hand. So obviously this hill would have been continuous over there, and this ditch was created to prevent people from actually invading, as it were, by hand, and it stood the test of time. It's perfectly weathered. And over the side there, I'm just taking a photograph. I'm just going to go over here, and I'm going to wait for the people to actually come down the steps. And this is the most amazing tree. You can actually, I'm not going to do it, but you can actually walk up through the tree. There is a pathway which goes through the tree. But over the years, what has happened is that our monuments have been made more accessible, and we can now walk up here on a recently built pathway. I know in my hometown of Nelson in Lancashire, we have a hill which is called Pendle Hill, and there was a great outcry because going up Pendle Hill on Good Friday was tradition, and you had to do it the hard way because there was only a tiny path. And then they decided that they would build a stairway up the side of Pendle Hill so that more people could actually get to the top, and they can. I think that's died down now. I think we accept it. We are definitely in the middle of the countryside on a very cloudy day. It's not cold today. It's about 18 degrees. And we're going to walk along. And you notice that this path is based on chalk. And we're just going to walk over here, okay, and just enjoy the countryside. Has to be said, I know more about Stonehenge than I do about Avebury. I do know it's a great walking country. There are several walks that the National Trust have mapped out that you can take from Avebury and go around the countryside. We're headed towards a path which is just beyond those trees, and that path leads right and it meets the Ridgeway. The Ridgeway is a national pathway which goes from south to north or north to south, and you can walk the Ridgeway in 2 or 3 days and go through several counties in doing so. It might be on the bucket list to do. Okay, and each night you actually stop in a different town, in a different hotel or B&B. Okay, but I just wanted to remind you, all this was actually dug out by hand, and then this mound was created from the soil that was actually dug out. So And this was all between 3,000 and 4,000 years ago. Now, of course, it is a major tourist attraction. It has ample parking and extra parking, so you can drive here. It's easy to find, and then you can walk into the centre. If you want to visit the manor, then you need to get a ticket in advance from the ticketing office, and the ticketing office is situated inside the museum. And well, not the museum, display about museum is a separate place. Okay, so you could actually walk right to those trees up there. Now I'm just stopping for a moment to let people who are walking towards me actually pass. Although then when I stop, they stop. I'm just going to walk down. Okay, so we're walking the perimeter of Avebury Stone Circle. And you can see some blue sky over there. So there's a chance, an outside chance, that the sun may come out. Now, you can see houses inside the stone circle itself. It's most unusual that people in the 16th, 17th and 18th century should decide to build houses and a village inside that stone circle. I think now we've got a better sense of proportion, and the stone circle itself is preserved for everybody to enjoy, and no longer can the farmers borrow stone to take away to build their farms. Okay, so let's just stand for a moment and enjoy the scenery. You can imagine walking across the fields and then being met by this mound and thinking, what's behind there? What's behind there is the stone circle. Let's make sure that it's not recording. Okay.
Total distance 2 miles. Total time 22 minutes and 8 seconds. Split pace 51 minutes 57 seconds per mile.